Good morning. Today, I can't believe that we're standing here having to share the news that Rochelle has passed away on Friday. And today, I'm gutted. How about you? It just seems unthinkable that she was with us and then gone. And maybe you remember and you're playing out in your mind the last time you had a conversation with her, the last time you got a text from her. I think it's safe to say that she enhanced all of our lives. And just what an incredible, incredible spark. I want to share a quick story. Beth Meyer, who just more recently joined the church, she said, I didn't know her for very long. But she said that one day Beth was downstairs serving as greeter, and then she popped up here just a couple minutes after worship had started, and she realized that there weren't any bulletins for her. And so she said, oh, Rochelle, we're out of bulletins. And she said, Rochelle could have said a lot of things in that moment. And what she said was, well, what a good problem. What a good problem to have. And she just disappeared and made copies and came back. And that was Rochelle, I think, in an essence. And so this morning, we light a candle to hold us in this time. Come on, Rochelle. A last little trick. I like it. Oh. It hardly seems enough. One little candle. But maybe it's enough for right now. Today I've got some green little pebbles because she loved green. And I want us to clang in this glass and just make a little bit of noise. Tell me, what is it that you are experiencing today? What emotions come through? Loss. Disbelief, absolutely. Just kind of shock, right? Sadness for Jerry and Elijah and Patty. Ollie. What was God thinking, right? Yeah, come on, God. Yeah, what was that, Ollie? Sadness. Happiness, too, that she doesn't have to suffer. Mm-hmm. Good. Was that what you were saying too, Ollie? Oh gosh, that's really powerful. Yeah, we can be sad and we can be happy, sad and happy at the same time. It's okay. Okay. Anger. Yeah, absolutely. Way too many people that we know. And we always say the good ones, right? Gets the good ones. What else are you experiencing this morning? Gratitude for the life that she lived and the spark she was in her lives. Mm-hmm. Jim. Yeah, right. We quickly, anxiety over what's going to happen. Is Elijah going to be okay? That was always her first priority, for sure. Yeah, how's Jerry going to do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Deb.
I just feel helpless.
Helpless, yeah, right? Yeah. No words, but we're present together, and that means a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some regret, right? Like, oh no, I should have, would have, could have. Absolutely, that accompanies our loss too. Okay, go ahead.
Happiness that she's back with Aaron.
Yeah, there is that kind of cruel, beautiful idea of her being united again with her daughter. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Grateful that I told her I love her.
grateful that you told her you loved her last time you saw her. Yeah. 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 Woo! It's going to be a doozy today. What else? Ed. Right. Right. Just so loving, gracious, an example, truly. And she could have chosen differently, right? She could have been, given her history, she could have been just really a curmudgeon, and she erred on the side of tremendous grace. What else? We've got a few more green stones here. John, go ahead.
I don't know, there's not a word for it, I guess, but she was just all out there for everybody.
All out there for everyone, right? Yeah. It's just this all-encompassing goodness, right? Yeah. Ready with the quick hug. Go ahead, Pete. A navigator. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, she held everything together. She made my job easier, and that's what a good secretary does. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
I think that she was a compass of peace and love.
A compass of peace and love. Oh, Ollie, you see things so clearly. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay, well, we can't outdo that. So and of course, this is just the beginning, right? This is just the beginning of what we're experiencing. And each of these stones and each of the things that they represent are going to change for us over time. That's what grief does. And sometimes we'll have to feel like we have to start all over again, as if all these were spilled out again, and we have to shove them back, place them back in here, acknowledging them. But how important and how sacred it is to name what we are experiencing. Because those feelings, that energy needs to go somewhere. And so today, we're getting to name what we're experiencing, and that will help us through. To share it in community is so powerful. It's a prayer. It connects us. You know what? We're never alone. Look around you. You have a network of people around you who are caring and loving and ready to be there for you. And so it is this day that we put green stones on the altar here. And we transition into this time of prayer. And you know what? Today's Camp Sunday, and yet we're holding the grief, and it's okay. She loved camp, and we're going to continue to do both. Because I can hear Rochelle. Well, don't fuss. No. Let's just keep going, right? You can hear her saying that. And so today it's hard. And we're going to do both, and we're going to do both together. As we step into this time of worship, what else is needing to be called to attention? What other announcements do you have? Go ahead, Katie Jo. Yep, trustees, stand on up. Good. So pick your favorite person and tell them about the dripping sink. Good. Or tell them about your $1 million donation. They'll be glad to receive both. All right. Others? Anything else this morning that we're wanting to share? Oh, go ahead, Katie.
I know many people will be at the retreat next weekend. Leslie and I are going to be here holding down the fort. And
That's right.
have planned on the kids singing, so if you're not going to retreat, the kids are singing This Little Light of Mine. We'll run through it at DIT today.
Good. Yeah, perfect. All right. Okay. Yeah, Dennis, go ahead.
There's another free community meal
This
this Thursday.
Thursday, yes. 5 to 6:30, come and eat here. Yep. Remind me who's hosting Human Concerns, right? Yes, Human Concerns is hosting. So a good meal for us to have to share together. Anything else? Then I invite us to turn to one another, offer greetings, offer hugs, sympathies, whatever you need sharing this morning.
Please rise as you are comfortable for the call to worship. For the rhythm of a paddle combing the water, the call of the loon, the radiance of sunset, the night dance of lightning bugs over the grass, we praise you. For the miracle of creation, in all its infinite diversity and splendor, that we find at camp and all around, we thank you, Creator and Sustainer. Too often we stay inside and isolate ourselves from what connects us to you. Let us seek places such as Jesus did, mountains, the plain, lake shores, the wilderness, to encounter you in creation, in community, and in us. Let us worship the God who calls us outdoors to camp and to renewal.
You can be seated. Now, when we get to camp, camp is very experiential, and we need volunteers. So this morning, we need 3 volunteers who would like to be sweepers. You don't actually have to sweep, you just have to pretend that you're sweeping. Okay, so Ollie and Raymond and Leah, perfect. All right, I'd like you to come down this main aisle, and one of the things we do at camp is we kind of do some fun things during worship. And so today, we're going to kind of put our hands out like this. And we're going to whisper into our hands, everyone, anything that we did this week that I shouldn't try to make eye contact. Let me just look down. Anything that we've done that was a little naughty this week, something that we said that, oops, we shouldn't have said, something that, ooh, we should have done and we didn't do it. And so right now we're going to kind of whisper to God anything that we have done that has pulled us from who God calls us to be and how God calls us to love each other. So we're going to confess our sins, just kind of hold them in your hands then, all right? And then we'll wait for the next instruction. Are your hands feeling a little heavy? Are they feeling heavy? The things that we did that we shouldn't have done? Ugh, and then to be reminded of it? Oof, that's heavy. All right, I would like you to throw all of those sins into the main aisle here. So just throw them, experience that lightness of forgiveness, and then we need the sweepers to come. Can you just sweep away those? Just pretend that you're sweeping. Raymond, come on. We need you too. We need all. These people have done a lot this week, okay? We need like at least three people. Right? Do you want to come be a sweeper? You can. There you go. All right. And that is the work that God does, to sweep it away and remind us that today is a new day. We get to begin anew. And so let us pass that on. right, kids, I have a very special job for you this morning. Now, again, with our hands cupped, kids, I would like you, as you come forward for children's time, to reach out and see if any adults around you have any coins for our noisy offering. We also love noisy bills, too. Everything goes to Camp Scholarship. So if you, kids, as you come forward, if you would bring up and if you had any offerings that were intended for just the general church, that's cool too. Perfect, thank you. Okay, any more adults out there that have couple hundreds that you wanted to? Yeah, Braden's got it. Okay, good. Very good. Do you feel this fire up here? Do you see that big fire? Whew, it's burning up, isn't it? Do you feel hot around the fire? Well, of course it's a fire. Up there with the red and the orange and the yellow. Ooh, it is. I'm feeling it. Are you?
No.
Hannah, are you feeling it? Oh, maybe it's just the adults that feel it up here.
I feel it.
You feel it? Oh, good. Yeah, put your hand out. Yeah, just a little bit. Do you feel it now? Oh, well, you know it can't. Oh, come on. Can we use our imagination? It's fake. Well, so sad. All right. Well, you know, at church camp, we like to gather around the campfire, okay? And what do we like to do around the campfire? Especially at church camp. Ali. Yeah, you did. Yep. Ooh, roast s'mores. Ooh, how many of you like s'mores? Oh, yes. You're in for a treat today. What do you like to do around the campfire?
Tell spooky stories.
Oh, tell spooky stories. Hey. I don't know that we do that at camp, but I know that we tell fun stories, right? Yes, and sometimes we roast hot dogs. We do a lot of eating. What else do we do around a campfire at church camp? How many of you have been there before? Raise your hand. Have you been to church camp before? You've been there. Yeah, you came with me. I saw you there. Good. Yes, quite a few of you have. What do you remember about church camp? Good food, yes. Uh-huh. Do you remember? I remember kayaking with your sister. Yep. I had Emery and Maya just paddle me around. That's good. I remember that. That was fun. Nora, what do you remember?
Swimming.
You remember swimming? How many of you like to swim?
Me.
You can swim at camp.
And there was polar bears swimming.
And there's polar bear swimming, which I told Maya doesn't actually exist. Because it's jumping in the lake at 7. So I said, we Abbotts don't do that. Being cold and doing something that early in the morning is just... you played like drip, drip, splash, water...
No, drip, drip, drop.
Drip, drip, drop. Okay. And all kinds of like water games too. Do you remember that? We took a hike. You have to bring your swimsuit. Yep. And if you don't like swimming, that's okay. Sometimes there are things that we do at camp that you don't have to do if you don't want
Like
to.
polar bears.
How many of you love a good parachute game? Plenty of time. How many of you do not like playgrounds?
Everybody likes a playground.
Everyone does? Oh, good. There's a huge playground. I know, I was tricky, wasn't I? And then there's that like spider web playground thing. Pretty neat, huh? Kind of like a jungle gym. You've never?
I've been at
Did we? We just went with no. Okay. COVID. Okay. Yeah. So there are all different types of camps. You can go with your. You could go with your mom.
You can go with their dad.
You can go with your dad. Mini me. You can go with your grandma. How many of you have been with your grandma? Yeah. I know Emery has. Yeah. Very good. You could, let's see. Do you think you could go there alone?
Yeah. When you're a teenager.
Yeah, you can. Benjamin went by himself, and you know what?
I did not.
He made friends right away. Yep. And you get to bunk in a bed, in a bunk bed. Get to bring a sleeping bag. Have pajama parties.
No, I have a sleeping bag.
You have a sleeping bag? Cool. What color is it?
Pajama party.
Jeez. Oh, goodness. What did you feed this child for breakfast? Okay. You know what? And I want to do one more quick thing, all right? I need one other special thing that we can do with fire. How many of you have a birthday? Yeah? How many of you have a birthday? How many of you like playing on the playground? Okay. All right, we're in total alignment there. Okay.
I'm holding the candle. My dog's birthday is on.
Your dog's birthday is coming up? No way.
My half birthday is coming up.
Your half birthday is
May.
coming up in May. Okay. You know what? This is a special thing that we get to do when it's somebody's birthday. We get to sing happy birthday. And do you know whose birthday it is today? Not Jesus's, at least not that I think. No, but someone who's Jesus-like. Miss Cindy Teller's birthday is today. So everybody, can you look back in that camera and say, "Hi, Miss Cindy." Hi. Today is Miss Cindy's birthday. She's 29. And I wonder if we could sing happy birthday to Miss Cindy. What do you think? She's at home watching, I bet. All right? So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Cindy. Happy birthday to you. Good. All right. Woo! Nice. Finley, do you want to blow out the candle? No, it's Finley's job. Ooh. Well, tricky. Go real, there you go. All right. Well, happy birthday, Miss Cindy there. She used to be a DIT teacher, so that's why we wanted to acknowledge her now. Let's put our little hands together, and we'll say a prayer, and you repeat after me. God, thank you for the time that we have together and at camp. Amen. All right, you can tiptoe your way. Thank you for coming up today.
Amen. A reading now, Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. Selah. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city. It shall not be moved. God will help when the morning dawns. The nations are in an uproar. The kingdoms totter. God's voice utters. The earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord. Wars cease, bows break, spears shatter, shields burn with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah.
At this time, we have some delightful anecdotes about camp and from two people who have a lot of heart around camp, and so we'll hear from both voices. Rock, paper, scissors. Who's going first?
Hello, everyone. It's exciting to be here to talk about camp. We've got 4 kids. All 4 kids went and went again, and they came back glowing. They glowed about the staff, the facilities. They glowed about the friendships they made, and the food, and the activities, all of that. That's a given. That's a given for camp. That's what we expect. But what I did is I went back, they're 39 through 33 now, and I called them and I said, what are your thoughts about camp, if anything? And what they told me was surprising. My oldest, Jake, he said, I went when I was in 7th grade. It was middle school. It was tough for me, and it was. He got picked on quite a bit. And he said he was real nervous as a result, but he felt safe there. He felt community there. He felt friendship there, and he thrived. And he went back again and again and again as a camper, and then as a counselor, and then as somebody who worked there. When he finally left for the last time, he lives in New Zealand now, so it was a left for the last time, he wrote a letter, and what it explained could thank the camp director, and he said, camp was among the fondest and most cherished memories of my childhood. It laid the foundation for who I was and am going to be. It taught me valuable skills, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, and compassion. And he got emotional, and I got emotional. Just amazing. Anyway, Katie, my second child, went there and found the same kinds of things. Here are some quotes from her. You disconnect from the outside world and reconnect to yourself and friends. You get in touch with your spirit. You are calm, peaceful, safe. It's fun, lost in happiness. You laughed a lot. Sense of relief just driving into the parking lot. She was a counselor, she was a camper, then she was a counselor, and she actually met her husband there, and they got married there. But when she talked about her camp experiences, it was as a child, her childhood experiences, not the fact that she got married there. Third child, Jim. He loved the adventure camp. He loved the activities, but what he did that was different than the others is he really connected with the counselors, and he used them as the older folks to bounce ideas off and figure out what he wanted to do and how things worked. He loved those relationships. He did then become a camp counselor as well. He called it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, met lifelong friends, forever tied to camp. Camp is family. That's Jim. Elizabeth went there from 3rd to 10th grade. She said, super fun, great experiences, met a lot of cool people. But for her, what was special is that camp was really a spark for her to find out what her passions were, both recreationally and for a job. It was the first time she slept under the stars. It was an amazing experience. She has gone on to be a mega camper, our backpacker. She's led groups. She's gotten her certificates. That's one side. And then she said, love the arts and crafts. That was part of the reason I pursued a career in graphics design. So it hit both recreational and professional. Anyway, interestingly, her husband-to-be researches this. He researches kids. He's going for a PhD. And what he said is that having camp, particularly at the age from 6 to 12, is hitting kids at the perfect time. And it's not uncommon to see the kind of sparks that we've seen in our kids, all of our kids. So if you've got somebody who can get to camp, get them to camp and start saving your money because they're going to want to go back. They're probably not going to start talking about open and affirming and safety and community and all those kinds of things, but if they look back at why it was special, they well might. Thank you.
I didn't want to go. He said it all. He truly did. He truly did. Oh gosh, this is funny. I had to write mine down too because didn't realize it'd be so emotional seeing the pictures up there, to be really honest. We also have 3, and when Jeff and I realized we were talking about the memories we had from there, we had quite a few chuckles. I think Cindy was talking about that in this pew as well, looking back at all that. First, we thought, truthfully, they only wanted to go because of Mary's amazing cookies. They enjoyed them every day, and they talked again about the meals, always about the meals, what they were eating, what they wanted. So we said, okay, great. We bought the cookbook. Got it. We made those meals at home, and they still wanted to go. I'm like, okay, that didn't work. No, seriously. Then we thought they enjoyed going because of all the other kids and the counselors. They met people from all over the world. It was just amazing to me when they come back with stories from New Zealand and Africa, and it just opened their eyes to seeing truly God's reach around this world, because it wasn't just Wisconsin anymore, and they knew things in the States, but it just opened them up to something bigger and much more amazing than they'd ever perceived it to be. And they were just so excited and amused all the time. They would just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But even after some of their favorite counselors moved on in their journey, they still wanted to go year after year, and we believe they felt it was an extension of our congregation, to be very honest. We knew that all that church had done to help it make a special place, and they felt so accepted up there. So what they did was they knew that their dad led work camps up there, even though they couldn't go because they weren't old enough, they wanted to go. They knew that through church here, the youth group went up at least once or twice a year, and so that was their connect up there as well, that they were part of that. They worked the camp. They didn't just go for the fun times, which they had, but they had ownership and being there and what they did. And again, it was so much about that acceptance, that when they went up there, like he mentioned, everything else didn't matter. It didn't matter what was happening at school, if they were accepted or not, or the conflicts that were going on. There they were, always. That love was always right at the top of it. It was such a special place that Ben, our youngest at the time, decided that he wanted to complete his Eagle project up there for Scouts. And many from the congregation actually took on that project with us, and we couldn't say more about it. When we see the cross, it came up in the video, and I was like, and Jeff and I were both, get the tissues, there it is. Because Vesper Point, if you've never been up there, there's this beautiful, beautiful place just down from the chapel, and it's called Vesper Point, and it's where they have nightly Vespers. It overlooks the lake, and there's a beautiful cross that would stand there with this rock altar, and over the time, unfortunately, life does what it does outside, and it kind of started deteriorating and rotting, and Ben said, I want to take this on. Also thanks to the director at the time, who had kind of been in his pocket going, yeah, this is a great idea, it's a great idea. And again, thanks to the congregation, he erected a brand new cross there with the help of even our former minister helping bless the inside of the old cross into the new cross and putting it together, helping us create the benches that are there. So it's always a part of, again, that ownership of being a part of it and carrying it on for those to come later, that it wasn't just for him. He knew he was graduating and moving on, but for others, it's always going to be that place, and he had a piece of that with it. I couldn't say enough what it did to our children and how blessed we were to have them go there, and yes, save the money because it goes. We were blessed with scholarships, which I know we have a lot of as well, still going on. But the fun and God's grace and God's ministry just speaks to everybody who ever goes there, adults, kids, and all. But if you can get them to go, 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 go. Can't say enough. Thanks.
God, you are my God. Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He fled his flock beyond the wilderness. He led his flock beyond the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of a bush. He looked, and the bush was blazing, yet it was not consumed. Then Moses said, I must turn aside and see this great sight, and why this bush is not burned up. When the Lord saw that he had turned aside to see, God called to him out of the bush, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Come no closer. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground. God, indeed, this is holy ground upon which we gather, and so break open your word to us this day. Plant comfort and hope into our hearts that we might have it to carry us through. Amen. What would that experience have been like for Moses? To stand there, to all of a sudden hear the voice of God coming from a bush that appears to be on fire but not being consumed? Can you imagine being Moses in the midday sun with the hot heat of the desert and being told you need to remove the shoes from your feet, for the ground on which you are standing is holy. So he takes off of his sandals and he feels the sand beneath his feet and he centers himself there on that ground that God has declared holy. Can you imagine that experience? Now, the scriptures never say that Moses came back to that place. And it was a nomadic life. They were on foot and traveled far and wide. But I wonder if Moses ever did come back to that place where that big thing happened in his life, where he heard the call from God that he would be a leader for God and that God was with him. That God was going to use Moses, regardless of what Moses would say, to do holy work. So do you ever wonder if Moses came back to that spot? Kind of like couples do perhaps when they get engaged. They might come back to the spot of their first date or their first kiss or whatever it might be. returning to that sacred holy ground. I imagine that a lot of you have holy ground in your life, places where you can slip off your shoes and you can feel the ground beneath you. And maybe it's a space where God's voice becomes very clear to you. And maybe that holy ground is a tree stand out in the woods. Maybe it's a favorite cabin or camping place. It's a spot that you return to over and over again. Maybe it's camp. Maybe it's Grant Park. Maybe it's the shoreline. Can you picture what your holy ground is? And maybe you have multiple patches on this earth that are holy ground to you. And it's a matter of figuring out which one. This week I thought a lot about holy ground and holy spaces and the places to which we return and how we're called to go to camp. And this coming weekend we'll have the chance as a church to do our adult retreat at camp and return our feet to that holy ground. I thought about all the places that we go to seek out holy ground. And all those places are renewing. And we come back and we hear from God. We realign ourselves to ourselves. We hear our own voice again and God's call through us. But I also thought about how we can't overlook that this too, here, is holy ground. And it was not only Rochelle's workplace, which I think was absolutely a call from God to use her skills. This was her workplace, but this was also holy ground for her. She returned to this space over and over again, Sunday after Sunday. This is the place that held her daughter's funeral. This is the place that she returned to with her grandson over and over. This is the place where she had to wait how many minutes after worship until Jerry would be done talking so that they could go home. Can you imagine the hours? Pick your highest number and add a 0, because this is the holy ground where she would have waited. Like, oh boy, I know that story. Oh boy, we're going to be here a while here. I might as well tidy up while I... So it's only fitting today, when our hearts are breaking, when we need to feel each other and feel God's Spirit, that we come back here. This holy ground. And we know that we can find God in lots of avenues. But there's something good and sacred about being together here. So I want to open up this holy ground right now. And I want us just to be able to share together what it is that we're experiencing. This news of Rochelle's multiple cancer diagnoses to now is just head spinning. And so I want you to just share, unpolished as it might be, what is it that you're experiencing? Davney.
As I age, and my husband ages, and my mother ages,
Mm-hmm.
death seems so much closer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm not as scared as I used to be,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not someone who believes that I'll be reunited.
Mm-hmm.
But my
Mhm.
mother is certain that when she dies, her husband, her baby that died, her mother will all be with her.
Yeah.
And I feel relieved that she has that belief. And I don't know if that's the belief Rochelle has, but I think we all have beliefs.
Yeah.
At least as we get older.
Absolutely. Right, absolutely. And if you didn't catch all of that, Davney was talking about the reality of death and how it comes closer as we age, right? And I like how you pointed out that you're aging and then you roped Bob into it too, and he's getting older too. That was cute. That was cute. Oh, he's younger. Okay. But it becomes more of a reality. I think it's a reality for all of us, but it kind of, when we get closer. And that idea too about, Rochelle meeting up with Aaron again, sometimes there's great comfort in that. And some of us think, well, maybe that's great comfort for someone else. Maybe that's not aligned with what I think. And in these vulnerable times, these fragile times, I think whatever works for you, that's what you grab hold of. It's not our job to dismiss someone else's beliefs, especially in these moments. If that's helpful, that's helpful. Yes, absolutely. What else is coming up for you in the midst of the ache? Go ahead, Hannah.
How fast it all
Yes.
transpired, and I think it's given me pause of how precious and how to take life less for granted. I think.
Yes, absolutely. How quickly things changed, to not take things for granted, to live differently, gives us pause. Thank you, Hannah. Sandy. Oh, other Sandy, sorry. Sandy R, not Sandy T.
Rochelle, pretty much, in my mind, she ran the church.
Yeah,
From the time our former pastors retired,
yeah.
going through the interim,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
getting new,
Yeah,
there wasn't anything that she couldn't or
yeah.
wouldn't do. She
Mm-hmm.
was always there.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just an asset in the time for the church, especially in the time of transitions. Yeah, absolutely. And she never wanted the credit. Just entirely humble. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Martha.
I didn't know Rochelle that well.
Mm-hmm.
Our paths didn't cross for that long. I was a hospice chaplain for many years, and it was always a treasure when I was there at time of death, because you can feel God welcoming home,
Mm-hmm.
and God wants everyone home.
Mm-hmm.
And that I believe to the core of my being.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine that the welcome on Friday was quite something.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're there and you're able to be there observing, it's a wonder. And so I'm hoping that what surrounded her was just that peace and welcome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That peace and welcome, the open arms of God. One of the phrases that I like to use is you're fully with God now, and whatever expression that takes, fully with God. Death is such a weird and piercing and real reality. And it's okay if you're creeped out by it. I know I shared a lot with my sister about, she's like, I hated every minute of being in the room with Dad when he died. Like, I just did not, I didn't want to be there. And I said, that's all right. That's okay. That's real. Mm-hmm. What else do you wish to share? Michael. Unfair. Absolutely. She had just celebrated her 60th birthday. Back in November. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I'm having a hard time understanding. We lost David this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was hard, and it's
Yeah.
still hard.
Yep.
Deal with it tonight.
Absolutely.
But we were prepared.
Yeah. Yep.
This loss of Rochelle
Mhm.
has hit us practically as hard.
Sure. Right.
It's so hard to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And almost like a sister, kind of, Yeah, absolutely. And every grief impacts us differently, and every single death brings up all what's come before it. Yeah. Leslie.
I feel so selfish to think this way, but we would talk about my seminary journey and the eventuality of me someday no longer being a part of this congregation because by the grace of God I'll be called to another.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be the one to leave, not her.
Yeah. Yep.
And I wasn't ready to say goodbye.
Right. Yeah. Feels unfair that we didn't have a chance really to say goodbye. Go ahead, Jim.
A couple things. One is, like you said, just naming it and being in company with other people, like naming it, taming it,
Yeah.
and feeling that
Yeah.
relief, and then
Yeah.
noticing that other people are in different stages of grief,
Sure. Absolutely.
literally bargaining,
Yep.
questioning, those sorts of
Absolutely.
things, and everyone being in different places and that being okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The naming of where we are in our grief journey, knowing that that's on a spectrum, and tomorrow we might be somewhere else on the spectrum. Anything else? This is brutal, and it's good. And I hope you're sensing that too. This is really tough. And what we're doing here right now is so countercultural. In a culture that says you have 3 days off and then come back to work, and you should be good to go and ready and just get that grief, that ugly stuff that needs to go away. Right? This is countercultural. So if it feels weird, if it feels like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to slide under the pew, that's all right. That's our hard work here today. Go ahead, John.
I just think of how we've all been Rochelle.
We've all been Rochelled. It's now a verb.
There's a piece of, some people, the way that she could come, we're all holding a part of her, and that will continue on for our lives and for all the people that we know, and we're going to go out and we're going to pass that on. It's going to,
Absolutely.
We'd love to have her in person, in the flesh, or whatever. We can't. But what we do have, there's a lot there. There's a lot there that we do have.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
We need to make the most of that.
Yeah, being able to take what she's given us. You know what the thing that Jerry said when I called him, did I call him? He called me. Anyway, he said, Rochelle is leaving this world better than when she entered it. She made the world a better place. And if that's what we can do with our one wild and precious life, so be it. Let us take a moment just to process in silence. Amen. So, we return to the well of prayer, and I'm wondering what you'd wish prayer for this day. Of course, for Jerry and Patty and Elijah and Nicole and Robert and everyone, Danny, her brother, her parents. Who else might you wish prayer for this day? Go ahead, Leslie.
Just continued prayers for my mom. We know she has to have major surgery, but every test that's run, there's something else that shows we don't know what it is yet. So just
A scary and anxious time for your mom as well, and for you experiencing it with her. From our lips, and then if you would respond to God's ears, from our lips. Helen.
For my friend Lindell, whose mother's being buried today, and for my friend Pat, whose son Dean is being buried next Monday.
Oh, just too much. Yeah. Right.
It's a difficult week.
And to say sentences that we don't want to say and they sound so wrong coming out of our mouths. Absolutely. And yet that's from our lips. Go ahead, Kay.
Continued prayers for my brother-in-law as he continues to struggle with health issues.
Yes, continued prayers for your brother-in-law there with health issues. And for Rich, too, in his time of healing, too. Hope that he's being a good patient for you. From our lips. Go ahead.
I actually have one more. Amidst all of the pain and the loss and the uncertainty, there was new life on Saturday.
New life.
My coworker and his fiance had a baby a couple weeks early, but she's doing great. And
Oh, good. A new baby entering the world. That gives us all hope and, yeah. Good. Very good. From our lips. Cindy.
Thank you for asking Dennis to talk about camp. We connected with all four of the kids, and we had no idea that it was so big in their lives.
Yeah.
What they're doing now, as he said, they're older. But the gift that Dechola / Pilgrim is to the UCC Church, to the kids of the church, to the adults of the church, everything. We are so grateful.
Yeah. Thanks for doing your homework, both of you. In preparing your talks, I was like, whoa, they really did their homework there. Yes. What a blessing camp is. Yes. And for years to come, for them to unpack its impact and for you to have that new opportunity to share that. Yes. From our lips. Go ahead, Ed.
Actually, I'm going to break a personal rule. I don't really think birthdays should be part of this, but as we celebrate life, someone very near and dear to me celebrates a birthday this week.
So Thursday is Leslie's birthday. Like Cindy Teller, she is also 29. Yes, so wonderful. And our lives are better for you being in it. So thank you, and I hope that you have a special week, even with everything going on with your mom. From our lips. Go ahead, Chris.
I'd like to say a prayer for all of the adults who are going to camp next week.
Yes.
That we all have safe travels there and that we come back with new life.
It will be good for us to take sacred time at sacred ground. Absolutely. For the retreat coming up, from our lips. Just going to quick peek around. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a prayer of thanks for all of the medical people who have taken care of me since the 23rd of November when I managed to break both of the bones in my left wrist and be out of the country at that time.
Yeah.
And so 2, 3, maybe 4 more weeks of occupational therapy, and I should have full function in my left wrist again.
Yep.
But I am able to drive.
But you're able to drive, and that's right. You're one wild adventurous to go to church. I love it. Very good. Someone who never broke a bone before now broke 2 perfectly. So that's right. Yes. For all the healing that's come your way and the skilled doctors and care providers. From our lips. Melissa.
I just want to add, one of Dirk's friends who had a tough time down in Houston making some gains in like a brain rehab. So it's great he's gaining some.
Yeah, okay. So the continued work then. Yeah, absolutely. From our lips. Go ahead, Mariana.
A prayer for you, Pastor Beth, as you have gone through grief journey with your own father and other people's parents in this congregation, people's children in this congregation, and now someone with their spouse. So
Yeah.
just how I know that has to be a hard road to keep walking,
Yeah.
and unfortunately it's going to happen.
Oh, it's going to keep happening? Come on. No. It's been a really tough patch. Yeah, absolutely. And I have ones that I just kind of text in the morning and say, it's going to be a hard day. And then I get, a friend's reference from my friend with the pivot, and she's like, if nothing else, the friend's reference will help you today. And so thank you for acknowledging that. This is wild. This is a wild, tough time. And to lose two people who I'm close with in 4 months is difficult to say the least. So thank you all for being cradles of support there. From our lips. Ooh, this is like free therapy right now. This is good. All right, let us enter into some just silent sobs, whatever might need to bubble up. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And the call continues to support this holy place and all the ministries that we are able to do in God's name through it. And so we collect our offerings this morning and we sing together. In love and in power and in grace, go from this sacred space to be together, to walk this journey, this difficult one, but to do so together. And may the peace of Christ be in your hearts always. Amen.